And we're live. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 4th of November. So it's non-farms day today. What's that in store for us today? Let's have a look at the outlook here on the calendar. So remember, it's an hour earlier because the hours haven't switched back in the US yet, or forward yet, back. So that comes, I think it's this weekend or next. I think it's this. Anyway, not to worry about that. More importantly, these non-farms expectations. I'm actually seeing a bit of a variation on some of the numbers. Last month I had a sort of a bit of a conviction that something was going to go wrong, and we made some nice money out of it. This month I'm not so sure, but we've seen 197 as the forecast here. I'm seeing elsewhere the consensus 195. It's not much there actually, so that's about fine. That's the consensus of new jobs. 3.6, yep, that ticks in there, so a tick up there. The important thing here would be the average earnings. If the average earnings come in beyond 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, because that's an inflationary figure, and that really does keep the pressure on. Also, if the employment change is even better than expected, if it's up to like last time, again a very positive figure, and it keeps the pressure on all of the time. Okay, sorry if there's those that can't hear me. I have been talking well away. Anyway, I'm sure the others can hear me okay. There's no comments there. Yep, they can. So not such a clear cut. I had a feeling last time that things were being a little bit towards the modest side, and we saw the bigger correction, and that obviously helped the US dollar. This time I'm not so sure, or I don't have the uncertainty that I had. Does it make the same thing? I'm probably more uncertain. I don't know. Last time I was questioning the data. We do have data on the CAD as well. Anyway, so that will be it for today. Now that could slow things up in the markets as ever. We have got Lagarde speaking at 9:30. Let's just check. Due to speak at an event hosted by the Bank of Estonia. Okay, spoke yesterday. She's probably going to be singing off the same hymn sheet all of the time. So let's not go any further there. Let's have a look at these currencies anyway. It's really what I want to do. The euro pretty much yesterday, just continued to sort of sell off there. We'd seen it. It continued through the 8 o'clock session. Didn't pretty much through the rest of the time. Then it did actually catch a bit of a bounce and then pull back, selling off a little bit at the moment, which is good for a currency, a pair that I'm trading. So, but a cross pair, selling off. Could do some more of that, of course. Just coming down to the hour. I mean, there's coming back here. We've effectively got bear flag territory. And a breakdown of that could see further downside. The risk, when on days like this, when I've got big news coming out, sometimes I'll take a trade, but with half size. I've done it earlier this week. There were sort of trades to take, but ended up going in with half size, which, if it does go wrong, it's if you lost half of what you would normally lose. So there's logic. If it goes right, okay, you've only made half either, but there's logic behind it, I can assure you. Anyway, euro dollar here looking soft. We could be drawing the trend line across the lows here. I'll do it very briefly, very quickly. There we go. And it's almost putting a pivot swing at the top here. So there we go. That's the euro. The pound this morning, it's broken its trend yesterday. It came down, it closed pretty much near the bottoms there yesterday, and again similar sort of price action at the moment, seeing weakness in this market. Lower highs coming through. To me, that looks like it's got potential for further downside. Again, we'll see how things run out. Just remember the risk that we got in the market until 12 o'clock. Dollar yen, dollar yen is holding on here. Yes, okay, yesterday it lost some ground against the US dollar, but not much. It's still in its tighter range here, and it's a bit in, I refer to it often as no man's land. It's not really got a trend to the upside or downside on this 4-hourly. It's pretty tightening, if anything. It's a bit of an each way bet. Perhaps we're seeing the euro and the pound coming off this morning. Maybe the yen will come off a little bit as well, but it's been holding up there pretty well overall. And I don't know whether there's the risk of intervention is good enough for some, but it does look like we've got some potential if things change around and the euro market, the pound market, if we see the dollar selling a little bit, we could see this running down a little bit further. But for now, as I say, it's a bit too much each way. It needs to give me a sign in the direction that I want to trade it. Okay, on the shorter time frames at least. Aussie dollar, I was looking at this yesterday. It did pitch through the sort of the lower time frame flaggy sort of pattern that was sort of there, but really, so pitched through yesterday, the day before it pitched through. Today it's seeing a bit of positivity. There you go. It's in that sort of wedgie pattern. That was the news that took it out, but it continued on the downside there. Lower highs coming through here, and it's selling back a little bit at the moment. Okay. Yep. So that's where we are there. Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar. Morning, Michael. Christina, morning. I'll answer your question in a minute. Canadian dollar has strengthened a little bit, is a little bit stronger. This might switch around a bit now. We're seeing a bit of a bounce here in the current market. It's just coming around this, and there we go. It's showing its true form. May end up as a bit of a pivot swing, but it has been running quite a bit stronger up until now. It's whether or not it can continue to do so is the question. Just want it to hold in stronger than the euro, to be fair. Anyway, that's the Canadian dollar turning around a little bit. As I say, it had been sitting in there quite a bit stronger. That might just soften up during this morning. However, I still have still a scope to change around. Of course, we'll see how today ends, but and we do have news later, of course, so be wary of that. Okay, gold. There really are no buy signs for gold. Whatever the markets are doing elsewhere, the sentiment is so poor on gold, and the technically here, okay, triple bottom. I talk about it time and time again. Is why buy it? Try and buy it. Find bottoms. What's the great interest for bottoms? How many people all the way through here? You got me on my high horse again here. How many people all the way through these markets have been looking for the bottoms and been losing money and losing money? Oh, they've got a bottom. We've got it. It's going to go. It's going to. No, it's not. And so on. It really is. It's a downward trending market. The focus really should be on the retracements, like here, to try and catch the shorts. Yep, it's seen a bit of a rally here. We're seeing gold picking up again this morning. Maybe it's sitting there for the shorts. I'm really, you know me, I don't like bottom hunting. 2-year yields, I'm not worried about any of that stuff either. So that's fine, but seeing a figure flashing over a certain number really isn't what I'm going to be. I'm looking technically at what's happening now. You give it a week or so, and I might be saying, well, this looks like it's it's changing course. It really is putting in something like a higher low. We've seen it on the minor side of things, but we're not seeing it on this bigger time frame. And I think if you really want to get into gold on the longer side, is let it show its hand a little bit. Let it start giving a higher low in there on the dailies, for example. Let it show its hand, and you could be into a really nice gold run. But at the moment, the big bars, all the big red bars are still big bars are mostly red. The smaller bars, the climbing bars, are mostly the opposite way around. See, there's yeah. Sorry. It isn't ever on any market the first to be in there. The first to be in there is often losing. The price of oil, though, this is doing. This is giving us higher lows. This is moving in the right sort of direction, and the sentiment, the fundamentals behind oil through the winter, with this world's second or third biggest producer out of the equation quite a bit. Okay, they're pumping oil, but not to the extent they was. This for me pushes the potential price of oil up onwards. So there we go. And this, as I say, it is putting the higher lows in through the pattern. On here, it has moved quite well. So there we go. So there's a commodity that is moving to the upside. Right, moving on and switching markets. Just click on the right one here. So we talked about this. Let's go on and look at crypto market. So crypto market pulling up this morning. We're seeing a few of these markets, Ethereum, all catching a bit of a bid this morning. Now, interestingly, currency markets, the fiat currencies are all looking a little bit softer against the US this morning. These are all at the moment pushing up. Certainly there's scope in these that there could be. I mean, just looking at Cardano and as an example, a break of those prior highs that gives us a proper higher low, and might just see us in Bitcoin. A break above 21,200, it's got to be showing a more bullish movement from that move onwards. So there is some scope on these now to see a bit more upside across the board. Ripple, well, maybe it's just sluggish. It's just catching up with itself. Already looked at Cardano. Litecoin there is really charging ahead, if anything. Back up to its prior highs. So it's already had a nibble of those. Maybe it'll push back through that area. This is probably the most bullish it's looked for, or potentially it's looked. Some of them have still got some work to do to get there, but Binance, I've been talking about this. This is the bullish one of the lot, or one of the bullish ones, and Chainlink. This has just nibbed out those prior highs. Maybe over the weekend we could see a continuation of this, but they are looking more positive than they had been. Okay, cool. How dare I say that in crypto? Got to be careful, because we'll probably see all the Instagram boys and girls out there promoting it like it's going the new thing on the block. Anyway, looking at the indices, and we've seen a bounce through some of these, not all. This morning we're seeing the CSI 300, a decent bounce. I've been looking always at shorting. Would be looking at shorting this market. It is very much in a downward trend. Again, it's put no higher low in, so it still remains there as the short possibility. 34 might come again, or if it breaks through this, the 50 MA, which is above that, might be the short potential. Not overly sure we're out of the woods yet. The Nikkei, it gapped right down. It's left a gap above. It's too late for it now. It's closed, but a bit of a down day there, not looking great. Nifty 50, well, these are looking more positive and got scope. The Nifty 50 has already broken the prior highs there. I'm looking at these almost like they're a bit too positive. They're probably all crash and burn now. Less positive here on the US markets. It's up at the moment. Maybe we will get a bit more of a bounce here, but it, I think with the non-farms coming out later, that might just lead things. Any decent figures on the non-farms could see, obviously it'll be dollar strength and maybe further down weakness on the equity markets here. So all three, Dow Jones always been overperforming, but even that looks a little bit softer now. And the one that's been underperforming, talked about it yesterday, the day before, yeah, this is the one to short if things start moving. Well, crikey, it came back even further down yesterday. It's at double bottom in terms of the candle bodies there. There'll be buyers coming in for sure. We'll see how this develops, but for me, I'm just remain bearish on this. Changing across to the CAC and the DAX, similar picture. The CAC here, it's well, at the moment putting a pivot swing in, taking quite a positive move in things here at this stage, as is the DAX, and both of them looking more positive than they have since they put these new highs, put the higher lows in rather, and pushing up, looking positive. This would look again better if it went through the 113.446 area. Again, it would give us a higher low and maybe a bit more of a spring in the step. FTSE also picking up here. This was lagging, but it's picking up. So really, if you're looking at the equity markets, the laggard really seems to be the CSI 300 there. Maybe the Nikkei with it being down a little bit. The upside, the Dow Jones still seems quite a reasonable, strong one. Anyway, on that note, I wish you an absolutely great weekend. There's some more comments here. No, I've got everything. On that note, I wish you a great weekend, and I will catch you on Monday. Take care, have a good one. Trade safely if you're looking at trading the non-farms later. If you're not, good on you. And it's Poets Day, so you can go early. Anyway, on that note, see you later.